Hey there to my 49 subscribers, my future subscribers, and all the people that secretly watch me without subscribing. Before I get into today's video, I just want to let you guys know that next weekend, on Sunday, I'll be talking about the origins of Easter, because a lot of people really don't understand it. They think it's one thing when it's only partially that thing. And then the following Tuesday, I will let you know about the catastrophe that became of the lemon trees. So that was a thing. And today, though, I want to talk to you about how Adidas and Puma came to be and what happened to the brothers that owned the company or owned the original company. And I'm forgetting something, but it's okay. So anyway, we'll just get into it then. So back in the early 1900s, there was a small town in Germany, and I would like to pronounce the name of it, but I would just butcher it. So instead, I put together a picture with the name and a map, and I will put that on the screen. Anyway, Adolf Dassler, also known as Adi, was born in 1900. And I'm sorry if I mispronounce anything, but that's life. He had two older brothers and an older sister. The main profession in their town was making shoes, and their father actually worked at one of the many shoe factories that were in town. He didn't really want his kids following in his footsteps, and even though Adi was really into sports and interested in the shoe business, his dad asked him not to do it, and so he did the things that his father asked him to do, and I forget what those things were. Sorry. But then he ended up joining the military for a short time, and he came to the realization that athletes could perform better if they had shoes made for their specific sports. So he started making shoes in a room of his family's home. Some people said it was like an extra kitchen or a laundry room. There's like, I don't know, I think somewhere said scullery. I don't know, whatever it is. But he also did shoe repairs for people because he wasn't at a point where he can make money making shoes. And then Adi's brother Rudolph, who was born in 1898, originally trained to become a policeman. But shortly after finishing his training, he decided to join Adi in his shoemaking business. They originally gave their company a German name that I'm not even going to try to pronounce out of respect, but it translates to Dassler Brothers Shoe Factory. The brothers divided business responsibilities according to their respective talents. Adi, with his love of sport, led the technical development, and Rudolph was the head of sales and marketing. They seemed to complement one another perfectly. Adi was the quiet, focused inventor, while Rudolph was the more extroverted salesman. In the first two financially difficult years, a dozen workers produced about 50 pairs of shoes a day. And they started producing soccer cleats with interchangeable studs in 1925 and track shoes with metal spikes. After about a year, they outgrew the room in their home, so they decided to take over unused production space at a location next to the train station. At the second location, they installed more machinery and increased the staff to 25 people who produced 100 pairs of shoes every day. In 1928, the Summer Olympics were held in Amsterdam. For such a fantastic celebration of sports, it was imperative for Adi to be there, namely with shoes of his design. and he was determined to use the world stage to prove that top athletes with proper shoes could run faster, jump higher, and win many more laurels, which I'm assuming means those headbands with the leaves. I think it's like a literal thing, but I don't know, just based on pictures I saw. Adi gave the German distance runner, I don't know if it's Lena or Lina Radke, a pair of track shoes he had developed. Wearing the Dassler product, each shoe equipped with 6 spikes, she went to the starting line after only 2 minutes and 16.8 seconds. She won the race for Adi, I don't know. Sorry. For Adi, and became the new world record holder. With her 800-meter gold medal, she confirmed Adi's theory, and the whole world witnessed it. Higher, faster, further was possible with shoes from the Dassler forge. With that, Adi saw his Olympic idea proven correct, that an athlete with the right shoe was capable of greater performance. In 1929, the Dassler brothers negotiated a partnership agreement which defined the rights and duties of both partners. The same year also saw initial patents being registered. Beginning in 1930, Joseph Weitzer assisted with the development of Dassler shoes. As national track and field trainer and himself a former athlete, he provided much technical expertise and experience. Adi and Joseph pursued, each in his own way, the same goal. Joseph wanted to lead the German track and field team to great success, and Adi wanted to collect more evidence that athletes could perform better than the competitors who did not wear Dassler shoes. In 1936, with Berlin hosting the Games, Adi had the first opportunity to showcase his shoes to the world from his own country. As such, the Olympic Games in the German capital became a springboard for the company, as Adi equipped numerous athletes from around the world. Among the most famous, the American Jesse Owens, wearing Dassler track spikes, ran the meet of his life and sprinted to 4 gold medals. The lightweight shoes were low-cut and outfitted with 6 specially arranged spikes. The sporting world celebrated, and Adi used the world stage in an impressive manner. No fewer than 2 world and 3 Olympic records, as well as 7 gold, 5 silver, and 5 bronze medals, were captured by athletes in Dassler shoes. In 1938, Adi and Rudolph opened a second factory to meet the increased demand that followed the Berlin Olympics. By then, 118 workers produced 1,000 pairs of shoes with products for 11 different types of sporting disciplines. Then came the severe setback that would forever impact their business and personal relationship. World War II restricted the athletic and business success of the brothers and periodically brought them to a near standstill. With the start of the war in 1939, Adi and Rudolph were required to report for the military draft, and from the middle of July 1940, Adi served as a radio operator in the Air Force. Due to the sharp drop in production caused by the war, the brothers closed the so-called Factory 2. On January 23, 1941, Adi was released from military duty, and the Dassler brothers were instructed to produce 10,500 pair of athletic shoes for the German army. Between disagreements in business, with Adi caring about the quality and design of shoes, and Rudolph caring about finances, the tension grew between the brothers. Add on top of that their difference in views politically. From my understanding, Adi went along with whatever he had to in order to provide the shoes for people. But Rudolph was really into the political movements of the time. The business agreement they had said that if one of them was unable to do unable to be there and help run the company, the other brother would take on full responsibility. When it came time, though, Rudolph was in the war and tried to convince Addie to let Rudolph's wife have a say in the company. In 1943, Addie was forced to stop making shoes and start making anti-tank weapons for the war. After the war, in 1945, Addie struggled to produce shoes. The U.S. government wanted to help him to help revive the German economy. Thanks to a connection with American officers who, since April 16, 1945, lived in the Dassler family house, Addie gained access to leftover war materials he could use to resume shoe production. With adaptable ingenuity, such things as rubber textile from aircraft fuel tanks, tent canvas, and rubber rafts were made into sports shoes. They weren't as suitable as leather, but functioned as a necessary substitute. Nevertheless, Addie could not protect the factory from another crisis in 1946. During the denazification process, he was categorized as a party member and barred from owning a business. In his defense, he was able to prove he was never an active supporter of the party, thanks to many employees and distinguished residents of the town who spoke on his behalf. A Jewish friend testified under oath that Addie had taken him in and protected him from the Nazis. On July 30th, 1946, the authorities reduced the charges. Addie was designated as a lesser offender, given 2 years of probation, and allowed to resume service within the company under the supervision of a custodian. Then on September 22nd, 1946, the degree of Addie's party affiliation was again reclassified to the lesser offense of follower. And a few months later, in February 1947, he was allowed to resume management of the company as an owner. Then in 1948, Addie and Rudolph could no longer repair the relationship. Addie thought Rudolph was responsible for being ordered to stop production of shoes during the war, and Rudolph thought Addie was responsible for him having to stay in the war for so long, and some reports say that he had been taken captive by Americans and blamed his brother for that too. On top of that, their opinions of business and politics became too much. They never spoke to each other again. Addie kept the original factory and Rudolph took the second factory. Approximately 2/3 of the workforce decided to stay with Addie, many of whom were engaged in product development and production. Addie first named his company Adolf Dassler Special Sports Shoe Production Adidas. It was the first 2 letters of his first name and first 3 of his last name. In 1949, when he registered his company on August 18th, he added a handwritten I on the registration form because the name Adidas was already being used by a company that made children's shoes. Initially, Rudolph followed the same idea. He named his business Ruda, which was the first 2 letters of each his first and last name. But then he chose to change the name to Puma to highlight ideas of strength, agility, and grace often associated with the large cat. Adidas and Puma entered a fierce and bitter rivalry after the split. The town was divided on the issue, leading to the nickname, the Town of Bent Necks. People would look down to see which shoes strangers wore. Addie's wife, Kathy, took over the business end of things for Adidas and was very much respected by everybody. She was known for listening to concerns and addressing them. Under Rudolph's direction, Puma remained a small company. His son Armand took control of the company and pushed it in the direction to become what it is today. So, That's kind of part of the story. The story was way too long to be telling the whole thing, but at least that just kind of shows how they started and what divided them. And yeah, I just thought it was interesting. My husband thought it was interesting. So I thought I'd share. And I will be back this weekend. So anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, whatever. And I'll see you in a few days. Thanks. Bye.
All tooed up, this a club full of nuts. Get the hater out of here, make room for the slut. Let the girl come through, make room for the butt. Let her drink, dance, smoke, fuck like TV. Shay, she too turned up. I pull up.